So welcome to Monday Moments again. This time I'm with our youngest daughter, Briony. And thank you so much for your feedback, all of you that have listened and watched this in the past, because Briony brings animation and energy into what otherwise would be a quite calm Monday moment. She just brings a different kind of generation insight. And I'm learning so much just from my own daughter. So Briony, welcome again.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
And I know that there are things on your mind that you really want to share and think about and just talk out today. Things that are not necessarily light-hearted, but you feel quite deeply and passionate about. So why don't you introduce that and see where we
Thank
go?
you. So we did actually have a subject matter in mind that we were discussing throughout last week. However, it just didn't feel right to talk about that right now with so much going on in the world. And when I say this, I mean in regards to George Floyd and the racial protests that are going on. That started off in America and that are happening now globally in response to those horrific events. And Dad and I were discussing how can we use this platform to talk about this matter, yet at the same time come out the other end with a positive message. So that is our goal for this session, for our 10-minute Monday moments. We want to acknowledge what's happening. We don't want to shy away from it and find a way to make it relate to people's lives and people's businesses here. And bearing in mind that obviously we are very different ages, Dad and I, and our work means that we work within different demographics. So firstly, I just wanted to ask you, Dad, about your experience in business. Now, we're going to have different experiences and thoughts because different things have happened to us. So I just wanted to know a bit about you and in regards to you growing up, briefly, because obviously we've only got a short amount of time, growing up as a man of colour and entering the business world. I just wanted to know your thoughts and what happened.
Yeah, and this is fascinating subject, Bryony, because the more I listen to your mum talk about yours and your sister's background, the more I realised you had different experiences to me. So mine was very strange. It was coming over on the Windrush era of West Indians. There was significant prejudice in Britain. My parents felt it more than mum and dad felt it more. Nanny and granddad, to you, felt it much more than I did. They protected me from it to some extent, but also what was really weird is the Hertfordshire schools that I attended. Once we moved out of the Brixton, Kenningtons, Cricklewood kind of era, I was protected there because the headmasters told everybody in the school there's a little coloured boy coming. And I didn't know anything about that until I left each school. It was the same in primary and in secondary school. And so they protected me from it. So it wasn't until I came to rough and tumble Putney in the comprehensive school, which was pretty rough, 3,000 kids. I mean, 3,000, that I first met prejudice.
Right.
So I had this kind of strange background, and then it wasn't a problem once I walked out of school and started in the workplace. People just treated me either because I was useless at my job or I was good at my job, or that's how it felt. It wasn't until Mum, Nanny, threw me out at the age of 21 and told me to go and find a flat in my bad old days that I came across the prejudice in Streatham, where doors are slammed in my face, or you turn up and the flat that was there 20 minutes ago had suddenly mysteriously gone. So that was the first time I ever felt prejudice. How has it been for me over the last decades? I think I've kind of just not thought it very much about it, actually, Bryony, because I just found I was either competent at what I was doing and people accepted me and and worked with me closely, and we got on really, really well together. Phenomenal friendships in work, or I was not very good at what I was doing, and I found out about it. So for me, I think I've had a different experience to you, and yet I
Mm.
should have had a worse experience. I've had just a very, very good life. And I think my church community that you also grew up in, but particularly for me and mummy, also provided me with masses of warmth and friendship and comfort. So I've really not felt a great deal of prejudice once I left secondary school.
Mm.
Um, if I have, I've not actually seen it. Maybe I've been blind to it. So yeah, it's interesting that you should now have this quite unusual and very personal experience that is different to mine. And that's
Yeah.
fascinating. So share with me how you feel about that.
Um, I guess I naively presumed that we would have the same mindset because we're related. And I presumed that you would have had it worse than me because you're darker than me. Obviously, I am a combination of you and mum, so my skin tone is fairer than yours. However, I am darker than Lauren. So even within that, I've had a different experience to Lauren, and Lauren's had a different experience to me. I've got
Wow.
curlier hair. Just things like that made me visibly look different. But yes, I thought you would have had it worse than me. So I was surprised to hear that. And also, really, like, my heart is relieved that you didn't have horrible things happen to you. But yes, it means that my experience was very different to yours. I won't delve into it too much, but I did have a fair amount in, yes, high school, and actually was at its worst in university. That was horrible for me. Yeah, really, really difficult times. And I think, again, I was very fortunate to have grown up in the church and have a very sheltered and loving and supportive community and supportive parents. So it did come at a shock, especially
Wow.
later in my life. So I feel extremely sad about what's going on, and I've not really been able to sleep. I feel distressed, and it's one of those big events in life that makes you think, gosh, what can I do? How can I help? It just seems so big and so beyond me. And a lot of people may struggle to relate to this because they aren't a person of color. They perhaps don't have a person of color within their main family. So it might seem really hard to relate to, and you don't want to tread on eggshells, etc. This is how our discussion kind of went. How can we help? What message can we give? And I think our closing statement that we agreed on was, how can we make a difference?
Yeah.
And you spoke about can you explain the circles to me quickly? I know we don't have much time.
Yes. So I learnt this in my education from Stephen R. Covey, who's a member of our church, as you know, and he just helped me understand very simply, and this is simple. Um, in our lives, we have two circles going on. If you just draw two circles on a page with the same center, a small circle and a bigger circle, the inner circle is our area of influence. What you and I, Briony, and those listening to us can influence in life. The outer circle are all those things we fret about, concerned about, get angry about, get upset about, because they're unfair or unjust or whatever they may be. And
Mm.
what I learned from Covey, and this has certainly worked for me, is if I focus on investing in the areas of life which I can influence, like raising children, like maybe being a better dad, like, as you said to me, I wish you taught me about these things, Dad. If I'd spent more energy in that, my immediate area of influence, what happens is the area of influence grows that you can influence the world by. You become more powerful in your influence, and the areas about which you get concerned diminish, because now you are you're more powerful and more influential. So it's almost like you can become a little mini Martin Luther King in your environment. Just help people see how this is damaging and this is much more stunning a way to live. It's much more joyous a way to live. So yeah, that's how I've tried to learn how to deal with this. What is essentially a prejudice in my life.
I think that's a really good way to visually kind of see it. And I think that's what people should take away from this. Focus on your inner circle of influence. And that can be discussing what's happening with your family and talking as a family, going, how can we make a difference in our community, in our road, even just between ourselves? The content that you're watching, the demographic of your clientele, are you as inclusive as possible? How have you got that full equality in your business setup? Is it ingrained within you, within your principles? And how you talk to every single person, interactions at the supermarket, wherever. I just think those, I don't even want to use the word small, but if you put those pieces together, and if everyone does that, the psychology changes from one person to the next, and then you've got a whole nation that thinks differently. And I think that's what we can do, making sure that we are as loving in our homes, in our communities, in our business environments as possible, and being as inclusive as possible. And if you do have any clients that are people of color, reach out to them this time. This is an extremely distressing thing, and they might feel really overwhelmed. So give them that email just to say, I hope you're well, and I hope your family are well, and I hope your thoughts are well, because I know there's a lot going on in the world. I think that's the best thing that we can do right now, and that will truly make a difference.
That's stunning. That's stunning. And I'm really glad we've shared this, because I had no idea, as your daddy, how you felt about this. And so this Monday moment is proving to be quite a magical time for everybody engaged in it. And I think I'm the one learning, frankly, Briony, the most. So thank you for joining me on Monday Moments yet again. I'm looking forward to the next episode, which could be all sorts of dynamic and fireworks. Okay. Yeah. Do you just want to leave with a concluding thought from your heart and mind?
I just wanted to say thank you for talking about this subject matter and letting this be on your platform. Not every business person is doing this or considering it. That doesn't make them bad at all. There's no judgment there. But I just wanted to say thank you for talking about this subject matter. And I hope people can gain something from this, big or small. But we just want to lead this conversation with love.
Thank you. Thank you.